Today, I've got something very interesting for you guys. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen the unboxing and the search for a battery for the Canon AE-1. I took it with me on our yearly family trip to the most beautiful theme park here in the Netherlands, just to see if it's really the best film camera for beginners, because I've been saying that a lot. This episode is sponsored by JFR Film, who kindly provided this camera, but more on that later. Let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of Run Along. As you can see, it's a rainy and cloudy day. So I loaded up the camera with some Portra 800, which is not a beginner film, to be honest. But I wanted to know how it would perform with the film that I use on a daily basis. If you're starting out, I would recommend something like Kodak Gold or Ultra Max. It has been a long time since I've shot the Canon AE-1, so I had to get used to loading it again. But after one time, it got better. Before even taking one shot with it, I had to hand it off to my father because my little nephew and my little sister wanted me to join on this ride. Okay, here we go. First shot of the roll. As it seems, you can shoot -1 and get that cool film burn on your first frame. If you're into that, of course. I got this model with a 50mm lens on it. And man, it has been a long time since I've shot this focal length. You will see later in the episode why. But what I do like is the look of this lens. Really has a vintage feeling to it. And yes, 50mm also provides that nice depth of field, a good compression. On to the next ride. It was cold, it was raining, but nobody is stopping us for going into the piranha. Piranha. Normally, in the summer, you would dry up pretty quickly after this ride. But now, you're stuck with a wet all day. So many things are happening in this photo. In this frame, I thought focusing to infinity would do the trick. But I guess 50mm doesn't allow me to do that if I'm shooting at f5.6 or even wider. I've got to deal with this every single day. Also with this shot, I focused all the way to the back. This camera is great to take with you. It's lightweight and it's easy to shoot. Definitely a good camera if you like to go out and photograph things like these. Yeah, I know. I've got to pay more attention to the focusing part. Using a rangefinder for so long really messed up my game. But when I nailed the focus, it came out perfect. while we are having some dinner, I think it's a good time to thank the sponsor of this episode, which is Josh from JFR Film. Josh has been testing, refurbishing and selling 35mm and also medium format film cameras. He has been doing that for the last few years and he is based in the UK. But that doesn't stop there, because he's helping out and shipping to customers all over the world. He also offers repairs on cameras, especially on the Olympus Trip 35s. Josh can help you pick out the best camera for you, depending on your skills, style and budget. You can just drop him a message on Instagram, which I will link down below together with his website. He also sells expired film, lenses, accessories and a lot more. So definitely worth checking out. So thanks Josh from JFR Film for sponsoring this episode. And thank you guys for sticking with me. Let's get back into the video.
Ja, let's go. Waarom is het eigenlijk licht hier?
So these shots were taken with an aperture of f1.8 and a shutter speed of 1/30th, which doesn't seem to be a problem with my Leica M6, but damn, I did something wrong with these. But let's just say it's artistic freedom and this is exactly how I wanted them to turn out. You guys can probably focus better than me anyways. It became dark outside and there wasn't much to shoot anymore. But we still wanted to hop on some rides before going home. As you guys might know, Xenia is opening her own photo studio. And I took some photos with the Canon AE-1 when we picked up the keys. So, is the Canon AE-1 the best camera for beginners? I think so, and this is why. First of all, the price. It's not too expensive for people who like to get a little bit more serious about photography. It's a camera that has all the functions that you need to grow your skills, and you could get a couple of lenses that aren't that pricey as well. This way you can save the money and spend it on film and development. I do recommend this camera if you're starting out with a wider lens, like a 35 maybe. I think this will help with the focus because the depth of field with a 50 is bigger. But if you don't have any issues with focusing, unlike I do, feel free of course to pair it up with any lens. What I already mentioned in this episode is that it's lightweight, so it's easy to carry around. And what I think is, when you have a camera that's not a hassle to bring with you, you will bring it with you. And that's what it's all about. Take photos, practice, capture the moments that you cherish. And if you're using a camera that's way too heavy or too complicated, you would leave it home quicker. And by the way, this camera and lens combination has an auto aperture function. So then you just have to worry about the shutter speed and that's it. Oh, and the focus of course. I'm not a big fan of that because I want to meter the light myself, but if you're into that, there's the option to do so. I really have nothing bad to say about this camera, and therefore I think it's the best beginner film camera. But also for those who do like an SLR and don't want to spend too much money on a camera. Let me know in the comments if you own a Canon AE-1 and what your opinions are about this camera. And if you are getting one, let me know which lens you would pick with it. For now, thanks for watching. I hope this episode was helpful in any way. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next week. Peace.